Okay, Silas here. This is Trump Tower. It's about 8 o'clock, 8:13, and I've been filming the protests. People are protesting Trump's visit to NYC. And I've been coordinating with some people and just trying to see what's going on, talk to a few people. I'm going to just show some clips after this of things that I filmed. I suggest you kind of go through, you can pause in some of the signs. I mean, I'm out here just trying to get and understand what's going on out here. But I was trying to find out the time of it. As you can see, found a position right outside Trump Tower. That's Trump Tower right there. You see it? There's a lot of press people out here. And I was just reading this thing in the New York Times. So I've seen a lot of reporters, a lot of press, a lot of people, just regular people just actually recording and trying to get what's going on. And people here are chanting, holding signs. Donald Trump isn't here yet. I was reading some of the definitions of what was going to go on. They said, okay, it's going to go on regardless. Even if he's not here, it's going to go on. But some of the things they're chanting, I'm like, okay, if you're just chanting this and no, he's not here, it's not directed to him, what's going on? So trying to find out what time this was going to happen, when he was going to check in. I check online, there's going to be a link to this New York Times story here. And towards the end of the story, we're talking about the sanitation trucks, as you can see them here. Barriers in case the people run into buildings, the vehicular manslaughter that's been going on. I just found out that today in Paris, somebody drove their car into a cafe and killed a 12-year-old, injured 5 others. I don't know if you'll see protests like that after this. I'm sure this protest is in part charged by the recent thing that happened in Charlottesville 2 days ago, where there was Antifa people on the left, anti-protesters against the Unite the Right protests, which included people on the alt-right and other groups. So news is still coming out on that. But back to the story I was talking about. So I'm going to read an excerpt from that New York Times article.
So maybe I'll go up to the barrier.
Merchants peddling pro or anti-Trump items who were once a fixture outside the building but had largely disappeared were back on Monday selling their wares. Bennett Weiss, 71, a retired jeweler from Newburgh, New York, was selling anti-Trump pins he had stuck on the back of a black umbrella. It's $2 each, 3 for $5, or free if you don't have any cash, Mr. Weiss said. If you want people to think you're a decent human being, wear an impeach Trump button, Mr. Weiss said to one passerby. Liz Karkoff, 39, who was visiting Manhattan from Westchester County, bought a pin for her 3-year-old daughter. It said, "Love Trump's hate." Bending down, she told the toddler that Trump doesn't use kind words, and that protesters were going to tell Mr. Trump that they don't like what he wants. They don't like that and want a new president. "Is he here yet?" the little girl asked. And I was thinking, that question of "is he here yet" is what I've been wondering too. People are here and they have signs and they're walking around and they're protesting. I mean, some people might be like me, just here recording this and kind of seeing what's going on. But he's not here yet. They're still out here yelling, and who is this to? When they come talking about the language that he uses, when they're out here, as you can hear the chant, it's not really the best language. So is it that they don't like people using bad language, but they can use bad language? Is it a situation where you set up and you say, okay, if somebody else uses bad language, that makes it okay for us to use that bad language? You know, that's the whole thing of certain tactics and certain allowances people make for their own side. And then what do they do when other people do those same things? When you say bad language is bad and that should be enough to act on, how about when somebody else thinks what you said was bad language and they act on that? So that's the situation here. I'm going to try and post out and see if we can see it when Trump actually gets here. As I said, people are still in fervor without him actually being here, and yeah, enjoy the clips. So here I'm a few blocks away from Trump Tower. You can see traffic still moving. It's still relatively early. I think it was around 5:30 here. The closer it got to the time when Trump was going to arrive, they closed off the blocks close by. You can see this sign here. It's the whole thing with the language. As long as they put it in a flowery way, as long as they say it in a certain way, it's okay to say these words. Here you can see how cars and things like that were being removed out of the area. Now this was uptown from Trump Tower. Trump Tower is to my left in this image here. They had different pens kind of cordoned out, like this street section here. I think this is 58th Street. No, this is 57th. But they had different areas cordoned off. Later on in the night, even 5th Avenue between 57th and 58th was closed. But you can already hear the rhythmic impeach and the drums and the atmosphere. Now here you see some horses coming down 5th Avenue. The police presence was definitely full in effect there. So that's one thing in New York. I don't really expect to see protests get too violent here. And you can see that's an empty pen across 5th Avenue there. That's going to be filled with people very soon. When I get to the corner here, I was coordinating, tried to meet up with some friends that I knew. And you'll see people coming from Central Park, which is straight on now. So right here, this person had a Black Lives Matter sign, and this black kid stopped for the photo op. That lady was taking it. And I wanted this to show how people are there for different reasons, different purposes. I went up and asked them, the person, they had a priesthood collar on. I think it was a female, could have been a transsexual. Asked them about the use of a Bible passage in a hexing of Donald Trump that I'd been to. And they didn't really want to talk about the witchcraft and Christianity religion connection. Still very early here, and you can see somebody walking by there with the American flag. There was one of the MAGA supporters, the Donald Trump supporters. One thing I've noticed when I've been going to these events, when it's pro-Trump, there's a lot of American flags. When you go to these anti-Trump things, you hardly see American flags, and that's one thing you might be able to notice. I can see she's calling her friends and calling her people. And later on, I think after this, I'm going to show you some clips of the confrontations that happened with her group and also the rest of the Make America Great Again pro-Trump supporters when they were put in the pen where they're supposed to, well, in the pen where the police allocated for them.
I was born and raised in New York.
Get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants you here. Nobody wants you here.
Staten Island crowd.
Nobody wants you here. Go back to fucking Staten Island. Get the fuck out of here.
Go back to Ohio, cunt.
I'm not from Ohio.
Backwards.
Fuck you.
Please, we will pray for you guys.
Yes.
We just have different opinion. You're right, we're right, we're all Americans.
Fuck you and fuck Trump. Fuck Trump.
We are Americans. We are still together. Everybody.
They come from out of town. Like, tell Soros to get your bus ticket back home. Tell Soros to get your bus ticket back home, bitch. Yes, Soros, Obama, Hillary, get your bus ticket back.
So my take on talking to people is if somebody calls someone a racist,
I live in Crown Heights.
like that guy just did, when somebody says racist, that's one of the things, if they've outright said that, I want to talk to them and ask them about it.
I fought Matthew Jacoby. I was there. Yes.
That's why you're voting for one, buddy. That's why you're voting for
He's
one.
the best friend of the Jews.
Oh, yeah.
George Washington.
Really? Nazis on his administration. How is he racist? That's why he has Nazis in
He's a disgrace. I'm sorry?
How is he racist?
For
You
voting
called
for
him racist
Trump.
earlier.
For voting for
So you
Trump.
can be racist by voting for somebody?
For a fascist, yes. Yes. If you vote for a
Fascism
fascist,
has-
you're a racist.
What does fascism have to do with race?
Well, you can look up anything in history in terms of race theory. I mean, yeah, Mussolini is different than Hitler, but, you know, that's true. But they're pretty racist. Fascists are pretty racist, you know?
But don't
Franco.
fascists also kill white people? People of the
They
similar
have
race.
race
So
theory.
how are you
They
defining
have
the race?
Race theory, by how they define it.
How do they define it?
So fascists believe in race theory, right? They do. I mean, it's just, right, that's why they have genocidal pretensions.
Well, what race? Do they kill along racist lines?
Well,
or do they...
all race is nonsense, so they invent.
So it's not racism. So from the race is nonsense. How can you be
there's
racist?
no race, right?
So how can you be racist?
Because it's invented. Racism is when you...
So yeah, he breaks out from the conversation. So racism is invented. There is no race, yet people can be racist. I don't get it. Or maybe I do, actually.
That's okay. That's okay.
Vodka becomes not Jewish again. You'll see in a minute.
Fucking disgrace. Fucking disgrace.
Shame the
All right, folks, listen up. This is not where we have this confrontation. We keep moving to the south or north, or we go on the pen across the street. We wish to have this discussion. Please keep moving. Go to the pen across the street. North to south. North to south.
Shut it down! The people united will never be defeated! The people united will never be defeated!
So as you see, you're still walking around, seeing more and more people come. Like this group ended up going to join that big pen over there.
United will never be defeated!
Whether you believe in race or not, it's a mostly white country, mostly white city, so mostly white protesters.
People united will never be defeated! The people united will never be defeated!
And you see here they switched to a different language. Now they're saying, I think, the people united just in Spanish. But there's definitely people in this same protests that would disagree with that man from earlier about races not existing. But that's what you get with identity politics. It's just a mix of just a frustrating mix of frustration. So as you can see here across the street, to go over to the area where the Make America Great Again Trump supporters are.
When you fight off the Nazis, you want to make sure you kill them. That's what they say. Joe, mentiroso, vendido.
Okay, right there, that was Joe Vival. I've done a couple of videos on him. He was a guy that was hit in the face by a bottle, with a bottle. So Jovi is a really big Trump supporter, very vocal about it, and some people consider him to be alt-right, which kind of flies in the face of that narrative of alt-right just being a white supremacist movement. So up here, there's that blow-up rat of Donald Trump. And that's a very New York thing. When somebody's doing some construction and they don't use union labor, they normally put these blow-up dolls or these rats in front of the building to kind of shame them for what they're doing. Another New York thing is this is right by Central Park, so you see tourists and regular New Yorkers just walking by, not really caring about the protest or just taking photos, just wondering what's going on. Another thing about this rat is before I actually asked around and asked New Yorkers about it, I used to think it was just an ingenious advertising campaign by a pest control company. So this New York thing, this blow-up doll, one of my friends posted, he took this image and posted this on a subreddit. And it was a subreddit that likes Donald Trump, but they banned him from it because they thought that it was anti-Donald Trump. So this shows how images can be used and can mean different things to people, but I kind of like it. I think the turtles are cool. Splinter, all your memes belong to us, kind of going with that.
Alice was hilarious. Take your mask off, bro! Do it! Drop the mask, bro! Let's see you for who you are!
So this guy in the mask here, he gets really into it, as you'll see in these clips. The entire thing, the uncut thing, will be on the Trump Train to Magaland project. Links in the low bar, so check that out if you want to see the full uncut thing. We're going to have a lot of clips of his altercation. He's also holding this little bag thing, and that thing in his back looked like some kind of camera equipment, so I don't know if he was with press or just recording by himself. But you can see different people cursing and yelling.
Fucking fascist piece of shit! Fuck you!
Yeah, there you go. Fascists of all colors and creeds.
I cut to this shot to show the rest of the protest. Majority of the protest people were staying by themselves, but here some people chose to interact or to confront each other. And you can see the guy in the green shirt from earlier who I was talking to about fascism decided to come up to this group too, and later on the police... Later on, the police actually cordon off and bring some more barriers to create a place for pro-Trump people on the right and protesters on the left.
I love all people. So, and if that's the only way for them to get in, then let them come. Let them come. If that's the only way they can get in, let them come. You should be okay with that.
And what happens is the media will cover this area and people may think that the entire protest was like this. Whether it's on the left or on the right, there's people on the different edges who will be more confrontational. I'm saying this with the knowledge that I'm also posting a lot of clips of this conflict. People are attracted to conflict. And here you can see people signaling and trying to police the group that he considers, you're in my group, you should be supporting me. So shame on you.
Miss, I got Jews. White Clay, Nebraska. Population 27,800 people. It's called a systemic genocide. Jewish women are the most. Jewish women. Fuck out. I'm a Nazi. You're a coin.
Slowly attracted the attention of a lot more people.
Off our streets, Nazi punks! Off our streets, Nazi punks! Off our streets, Nazi punks! Off our streets, Nazi punks!
Fuck out of here! You're the real Nazi. You support the genocide of your own Taino people! You support the genocide of your Taino people! Shit!
You see right there, you support the genocide of your Taino people. People know that genocide is not just across the big race lines.
Your days are numbered! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Murderers!
There was this young kid there who was with his mom. I don't know which side he was supporting.
Shame on you! Shame on
But you could tell they were apprehensive to support everything that the people on the left were saying. You can see the cops come in.
You're a racist. Hey.
You're a fascist. Sorry.
You're against the fucking Jews, you're right.
And you're probably gonna allow it.
No,
Yeah, your face is gonna go viral.
That's that old thinking. That's that old way of thinking.
Fucking asshole.
You old. You're old. Why don't you think of a new way to think? This is fucking 2017. 2017. 2017.
Tell them. Yeah. 2017. Yeah, it is. It's 2017.
I don't understand this current year thing, just pointing out the date, or just, there was a sign, Nazis are Nazis. Yes, we get that, but how do you define Nazi?
That fucking white man put a ball on you just as quick. He's a white man. He's a white.
He was going here talking to the cop, pointing at some of the black cops and saying they would shoot you just as quick.
Ass motherfucker. Shame on you. Just remember, they're gonna shoot you too. Remember, they're gonna shoot you too. Shoot you too.
Again, most people just dare to protest, and then you have some people who are confrontational.
There is no heaven. Welcome to 2017. We're in hell right now. Fuck Pope Alexander III and his discovery doctrine.
Don't be Val. Don't be Val.
Fuck your discovery doctrine. Fuck your doctrine. That's heaven. Fuck your Christian doctrine. free speech.
Fuck out of
Something
here.
given to about something given to
Get
us
out
by
of
the
here with your
European
doctrines.
settlers.
Where do you come from?
Fuck out of here. New York City. Born and raised in Brooklyn.
Where do you folks come from?
Doesn't even matter.
Where do
I'm
they come
born and
from?
raised
Where do you
here.
folks come
He
from?
said he's
My dad's from
Taino.
here.
He said
From
he's
where? From
from
where?
Puerto Rico.
Oh, granddaddy owned a plantation. What are you talking about?
So this person who didn't care about race, said race doesn't exist earlier, is asking him where he's from. Is he asking for nationality or is he asking about race?
Fuck white supremacy! 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 Fuck white supremacy!
Fuck white supremacy!
Fuck white supremacy!
That is just really weird to me. Later on, there was a part where people were chanting Black Lives Matter and somebody walked by and was like, yeah, F white people. And seeing the looks on people's faces. Because for some cases, it's just the person is white, I don't like them. And if you think I'm lying about this or being too simplistic, for the Women's March, I walked around with a sign that said, Donald Trump is a white male. I thought people would know I was trolling them, but I had people come out and actually say that was a great sign. So I got done with the thing up by Central Park and I was like, okay, I'm tired of this, I'm heading home, and decided to pass through the protests and see what people were doing on the way back. So listen to the chant. KKK, no fascist USA. That connects Trump supporters to the KKK, which was opened by the Democratic Party, and then fascists, which are considered Nazis. Someone just drumming away there, see that person just talking to somebody else, is the most surreal moment of my life. If you really think Nazis and KKK is a threat, if you think they're a deadly threat, are you sitting there talking about surreal moments in your life? So when she says the most surreal moment in my life when she's talking about that, does she mean literally or does she mean figuratively? I think it's figurative in that sense. So when they're talking about other things, are they meaning things figuratively, like Nazi figuratively, or literally figuratively? And I think they don't understand how serious people are, how plainly people speak. When somebody says, I believe in this book, and this book tells me to kill you, they literally mean that. Also, before a slight correction, it was no racist USA, not no fascist USA. So there was a guy who was like, yeah, fuck white people. He started by saying Donald Trump is a Nazi. Then people looked at him, and then he says, F white people. And he kind of pulls them in. Then when he says that second part, you can see a general cringe around the crowd. Like, is that really what we mean? You see, I'm not one who says you can't judge people, and these people out here are definitely judging Donald Trump and all of his supporters. So I feel I can say this, and it's also my video. People who bring kids, young kids, to events like these are not good parents. I am judging you. You should not bring young toddlers, kids, to events such as these where people are cursing, violence could happen. It's not healthy. Again, that parent there is bopping the child up and down, associating a fun, good time with these words to that child's mind. Coming up here is one of those people who are peddling the buttons. And then there's these two signs, one talking about how what will you do when your neighbor can take off his hood as the KKK people. And then the sign behind it, it says, "Hey moderates, Google false equivalency, then Google Nazis." Two things on that. I think Trump and KKK, false equivalency. Second, this is why people are worried about Google controlling who can speak, censoring people. Because people equate internet and information with Google. They have big control on that, so I do understand people's concern. So hands too small, can't build the wall. Body shaming is okay if you're on the left. Switching into Black Lives Matter chant, that shows that you can have identity politics, you can focus on certain races. It's not bad to focus on race if you're on the left. So yeah, you see that kindergarten level chants and this "not my president" thing. This shows me that they truly believe they are not American. They don't have an idea of what American is. That's why they don't have American flags. So this is when some of the motorcade of Donald J. Trump got there. They saw some cars and they started chanting shame. He entered in through a side entrance. He didn't use a main entrance on Fifth Avenue. But as you can see, they're chanting shame over and over again. And this reminded me of Game of Thrones, which is a really popular series. One of the queens is deposed and she has to walk in the streets and the people chant shame and spit on her and yell at her. And this sign here, this is not normal. Or is it normal? Is shame enough? I am not against shame. I think it's okay to shame people for things that they did. Then you don't need the state to be involved to do that. But for these people, do they believe their life is pretty much the same as a TV show? What are they speaking about here? What are they doing here? Again, America is a republic. The popular vote doesn't matter. It's like losing a soccer game 5-0 and saying we possess the ball for 60 minutes out of 90 minutes. Doesn't matter who possesses, matters who scores. Okay, a few things here. I got behind this guy who was leading the chants. This whole "Who Streets" thing, it kind of goes together with that roads thing that people make fun of, saying without the government, who's going to build the roads? Because they feel an ownership of the roads. They don't understand that roads can be built other ways, so they feel like, oh, that money that was taxed from us, we somehow own these streets, I think mentally and also here. Second, the guy's holding a Mahatma Gandhi sign, and this example that they're having of tearing down statues and monuments to people that did things they don't like. Mahatma Gandhi was a really racist person. He said some really horrible things, had questionable things to say about women and the way he treated them. I wonder if they know, I wonder if they care, or they're just using it as a symbol. Okay, now here, there's somebody behind me who was with a friend who I heard as this chant was going on. They actually squealed with joy that they were here. They couldn't believe they were here doing this. And then they proceeded to start yelling F Trump at the top of their lungs. Now, from personal experience, being able to yell something at the top of your voice is a very cathartic thing. Most people haven't been able to do it since they were children. So I suggest even if you find a place going out in the woods somewhere and yelling something by yourself and get that effect. Now here, you're doing it in a city, with people you know, in a place where you're not supposed to do this in normal situations, against this supposed evil being out there. I can imagine with all that effect, the cathartic effect of it is even higher than anything you could experience by yourself in some woods somewhere. You can hear the laughs. Again, you can see this normally happens after a lot of these events. They come in and they leave the signs. Let's check out some of these. So yeah, that's New York. That was the protest against Trump, I guess, getting here. I don't know if there's going to be more. Well, there actually is going to be more. Tomorrow there's going to be a protest for or against immigration. I don't know. It's based on the immigration thing. Might come out and film again, but still not quite sure exactly what the purpose is for a lot of the people coming out here. They come out, and I think it's partially. Okay, so I'm walking back from the protest, and I just saw this thing. It's just Nemesis. As you can see, this is the Adidas store. But it's just the branding thing, it's this presentation thing, just saying Nemesis. Unlock agility. And why I'm pointing that out is the term Nemesis. The term Nemesis in and of itself is not a positive thing. It's supposed to be a bad thing, but you can see here being used in a high fashion sense, in a positive sense, in a way to attract people. And I think there's something to say about that, and when it comes to branding in a political sense, and in just life in general, how things are branded, how it's supposed to make you think about the way things are going. Like you can see right there, Empire State Building. Right now, it's lit up in some color effects of blue, red, white. It's likely to signify that Donald Trump arrived in the country, arrived in the city today. I'll check out, there's actually a website where you can check and see what the tower lights are doing every night. Okay, I don't want to be accused of being a purveyor of fake news. So I'm here by the Empire State Building, and I checked the website, and it says that it's colored to honor the Subway Series. So I think the Subway Series, that's the Yankees versus the Mets. And I think when it was changing color, what I thought was red was probably the orange. Maybe they're changing colors depending on who is at bat or who is... I don't know the terms for baseball. I don't watch baseball. I don't think you should watch baseball either. Stop watching baseball. But anyway, so yeah, it's not for Trump coming in, but that's a good point though. You see people are doing that. Life goes on for most people. For most people, him coming in was just an inconvenience with the traffic and changing of things. People were probably late to go watch the game or things like that, had to clear offices. As you saw on Fifth Avenue, it's not an unoccupied street. The area was right by Central Park. So there's a lot of people there who probably lost some business from having those things there. So they're probably more frustrated with that. People just coming from work. So life goes on in most cases, and there you have it. But at that event, there was a lot of people protesting and saying, you're not welcome here, Trump's not welcome here. There was even a reporter I heard talking to another reporter, a photographer. They had the press badges on, and they were just talking about when he's going to get here, and he was like, yeah, he knows he's not welcome here, you know? So they have this thing where New Yorkers are saying, you're not welcome here, people, you're not welcome here. But it goes back to that aspect of what do they mean by you're not welcome here in the group sense? who are they to speak for everyone here? Because there definitely are some people that do welcome him here. Not just a few Trump supporters that were there, but just people in general in New York, and some people who don't really care. I mean, there's a difference with somebody not wanting you to in a place, not welcoming you to a place, versus somebody saying you should leave. Because as you see and as you know in your life, in most of the things, even the things you care about in general in the world, most people don't care about the things you care about. So when it comes to the political sense, why do some people care? Why do some others not? Why do some people come out here and have those signs, have those protests, take their time to stand there and pretty much just yell at the building? And why do other people think it's not worth it? So I don't really quite know, and I don't think I'm going to find out anytime soon exactly. I'm not hoping. It'd be nice if I did to move on to some other things. But I think this is tied into just the whole want of knowing, and I've tried in different ways to get the information in, to find out what people care about and what they don't, and there's an exchange I'm going to post up about, it was in a friend's wall, posted something about an article, and then somebody posted on Don't Tag Me, and I kind of talked about this, and I asked, okay, what do you mean by this? When you say the black community, what do you mean by black and white? And right after I said, yeah, and I know, don't give me the whole line of educate yourself, or if you need to ask, you'll never know. And then the person actually answers, educate yourself. So I think they were being snarky. I don't think they actually, I mean, it'd be really funny if they didn't actually read it and said that. But yeah, that's how it goes. You go out here, you try to learn, you try to find out what's going on. Hopefully posting this stuff so some of you guys can see it too and see if you can make some sense out of what's going on or experience what it is. See if it's something you support, if it's something you're against. But I think the world is a better place the more people have access to this information. The more people know what's going on, the more people can see for themselves and make those judgments on their own. I think it's going to be a better place. So that's it for now. There will be a video probably tomorrow about, or soon, about the next protest that I go to, but till then, also check out the Trump Train to Magaland channel. That channel is going to have longer videos of the stuff that I did, all the material I did. I'm just going to put that there in long form or in clips. And there's also one argument that occurred between Jovi Val and this other guy, and that other guy was yelling also at the heated argument, so you can check that out there too. So yeah, till next time, like, share, and subscribe. Silas, Empire State Building, goodbye.